Action to my open and more, a deep-trenched warrior in Congress who fights every single day for our president against the baseless attacks by the Democrats and the liberal mob. House Intelligence Committee ranking member Congressman Devin Nunes, who joins me now. All right, good evening, Congressman.
Great to be with you, Judge.
All right, Congressman, we heard your closing at what we all thought was the end of this impeachment inquiry, or whatever they call it. And it was concise, it was forceful, and it was factual. And then Adam Schiff, at the end, gets to do his whole thing again. But did they give you any indication of what's coming next?
Well, we now know that this coming week, Jerry Nadler is going to start, phase 2 of the circus. Now, Jerry Nadler has been in the witness protection program now for several months after he botched the Mueller probe. So we're going to see how this goes. Suppose they're going to have talk about the constitutionality of impeachment. And look, during the Nixon impeachment hearings, you had an actual break-in. You knew what the crime was. During the Clinton impeachment, you knew that he had lied to a grand jury. I think for 2 weeks, one of the things we were able to expose is that not only did they not have a quid pro quo, they actually had to change quid pro quo to bribery until John Ratcliffe pointed out that the only person that had ever been accused of bribery in Adam Schiff's star chamber down in the basement of the Capitol was Joe and Hunter Biden. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at right now. We'll see. I think it's just phase 2 of the circus this week.
Okay. Well, apparently there was a guy by the name of Mark Sandy, who was a career employee who worked in the Office of Management and Budget. And he said that the holdup of the money, which wasn't for all that long, it was released on September 11th. He says that holdup had to do with the contributions by other countries. And we've got some tweets from Lee Zeldin, and it says literally the transcript for OMB's Mark Sandy was just released. The only reason he was ever given why there was a hold on money to Ukraine was the president's concern about other countries, not bribery, not quid pro quo, or any wacky conspiracy. And then, of course, Lee talks about what a dedicated career public servant Mark Sandy is, and he said the definitive answer from OMB was entirely about the president's desire to make sure that other countries were contributing as well. Now, the Democrats, of course, are going to try to turn this into something other than that. What do you hear they're doing with that?
Well, if you were really super bored over the last 2 weeks and you watched every single minute of the impeachment inquisition held in the House Intelligence Committee, now known as the House Impeachment Committee, we actually raised this, that this was somebody who this is the top civil servant that controls the money. So if you want a one-stop shop, somebody who had to make this call, this was a very important witness, which is why Adam Schiff and the Democrats brought him down into the Star Chamber on a Saturday and then decided to not release the transcripts. So I actually brought this up, so did some of my colleagues. We said, wait a second, why don't you release this transcript so the American people can see from the top civil service bureaucrat what he actually said. So look, and it's not a secret. Donald Trump wants more countries to pay their fair share.
Well, he's been saying that from the beginning.
Very clear since he first came down the escalator.
I want to talk about December 9th. Now, the Inspector General's report on the FISA is coming out on December 9th. And, last weekend I had Carter Page on the show. And Carter Page, of course, who's the subject of the warrant, who was essentially used as some kind of a view into the Trump campaign. He said that he has never had an opportunity to see that FISA report when people like Andrew McCabe, who referred for criminal prosecution a year and a half ago, has been able to see it and edit it or redact it or whatever they're allowed to do. Why is Carter Page not allowed to see that report?
Well, partly the whole idea of the Inspector General only looks at the Department of Justice and FBI and how they handled the FISA. That's it. The Inspector General can't go out and get people to come in and testify. He's very limited in his powers. He can't prosecute anyone. He can only make criminal referrals. So So the idea that some of the people who went out and that were part of this, that were interviewed, and that's who you're hearing from. You're hearing from the people who did really bad things. You're hearing from
so
the
they get a
dirty
chance
cops.
to go, yeah, okay.
That's why what you're seeing out here in the news media that's leaking now, it's the version that the dirty cops have, not probably what the real version is.
All right, I want to talk about this guy Clinesmith, who was mentioned in some of the reports, newspaper reports, that, it's just a low-level FBI guy who made some changes to the warrant, but none of it affected the outcome of the warrant. Now, this guy Clinesmith, he's a guy who called Republicans saying in tweets, the crazies have finally won. He called Vice President Trump stupid and talks about Viva the Resistance. Now, if this guy Clinesmith is the only guy who ends up, being, accused of some wrongdoing, you're going to have some trouble in this country. I'm telling you right now.
Well, also, this guy's not just some little French guy, okay? Number one, he's not French. He's the lead lawyer on the Clinton investigation and on the Trump investigation during the campaign. So the idea that anybody would be calling him some low-level lawyer is idiotic. Look, I hope that I'm actually shocked if he really did actually change evidence, right? That's what he's being accused of in the papers. We've got to wait to see if it's true. If he doctored evidence, that's far worse than even using the Democrats' dirty dossier and using fake news stories. Doctoring evidence? I mean, this guy better be strung up.
Yeah. I'll tell you, Congressman Nunes, I can't wait to get to the bottom of this. So I thank you so much for being with us. We've got a lot to look forward to when you guys all come back. Thank you.